Hello, this is the second update to the channel. If you haven't seen the first episode, I would advise watching before continuing with this episode. Today I'm going to be talking through some more of the basics of Python programming. I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code for all of my tutorials, but if you're using a platform like Genie or Trinket, you should be able to follow along just as well. In this episode, I'm going to be talking through numbers in Python. To start off with, there are two main types of numbers in Python: integers and floats. An integer is a whole number, and a float is a number that can have a fractional value or a decimal. Within Python, you can do calculations with numbers similar to how you can outside of coding. However, some of the operators are a bit different. Here, I'm storing the results of my calculations in a variable called total, so that I can output the results to my calculations. In Python, we can represent addition and subtraction with the normal symbols add and subtract, like so. Here, I am adding 2 and 3 and subtracting 2 from 3. You can see that when I run my code, the first output is 5 and the second output is 1. Multiplication can be represented by an asterisk and division can be represented by a slash. Here I am multiplying 5 by 2 and dividing 6 by 2. You can see that when I run the code, the first output is 10 and the second output is 3. We can also do indices or exponents in Python, which are represented by a double asterisk. For example, I'm doing 4 to the power of 2 here, and the output is 16. Looking at floats in Python, we can interchange floats in our calculations as shown here. This will give correct outputs. For example, 2 add 1.7 will output 3.7, and 3.5 multiplied by 2 will output 7.0. Lastly, we can look at different ways of storing numbers in variables. When we store a number in a variable, we can use underscores in the place of commas to help us write longer numbers. For example, here I am storing 14 underscore 1000, and when we output this, the program will simply show the number without any underscores. In Python, we can also do something called multiple assignment. Here I'm storing 3 different values to 3 different variables on the same line using commas in between each variable and each value. I'm storing the value 2 in the variable x, the value 3 in the variable y, and the value 4 in the variable z. And if I were to print each of these variables, they would each output their own value as shown here. There is also another variable type that we can look at called a constant. A constant is a value stored in a variable that should not change throughout the entirety of your program. In Python, there isn't a proper way to store a constant, but most programmers store a constant as a variable in capital letters. Here, my constant is called score in capital letters, and the value stored in my constant is 10, and this will not change throughout the whole of the program. Thank you for watching, and please feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you need any help with a piece of code that you're working on, drop a comment and I'll try and help you to fix your code, and you can feel free to make any video requests. The next update of lists in Python programming will be coming out within the next week, so keep checking the channel for updates.